Hello, everyone. In today's episode, we talk about how long it's going to take for this to start working and some different ways to think about it to keep you on the right track for a long time to come. Please enjoy.
Welcome to the Perfect Workout Podcast, where fitness meets simplicity. I'm Kyle Recchia, CEO of the Perfect Workout. I'm joined by Jim Keene, our Director of Training. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Welcome back, everybody. Today, we are going to talk about really a common question that we probably should have addressed much earlier in our episodes, which is, I've started strength training at the Perfect Workout. I know you guys guarantee results, which, by the way, we'll talk about what that guarantee is. So when can I expect to see results? And of course, the obvious answer is, well, it depends. What are the results you're looking for? But Jim, why don't you kind of dive in, and maybe we can segment this a little bit, again, like we have been, into some of the differences in our studios. But when can people expect to start seeing results?
So with the Flagship studios, let's imagine you did the most common program, which is twice per week. And of the 20-minute high-intensity workout, full body workout, taking each set to temporary muscle failure. And then you choose a weight so heavy that it only permits movement for about 60 to 90 seconds, if you're doing all that. By the end of the first month, you'll start to notice a little something in the mirror. Supposing, let's say, you keep your diet the same. You'll start to notice an increase in personal energy, and you'll start to notice maybe a little bit, depending on your degree of leanness, a little bit more tone, a little bit more definition, something like that. And it'll be very subtle. Within 6 to 8 weeks, you're getting some momentum. Now the strength is really increasing, and as the strength increases, the stimulus increases because you're using heavier weights. And so then you're really rolling. By week 12, you should definitely notice, and again, depends on a lot on who you are, but substantial increase in strength. You'll notice a definite increase in muscle tone, which is its density at rest, the muscle tone. But people say, I want to tone it up. That's what that is. When you tear muscle up and it builds back thicker and denser, that's the process to build tone. And so that's about the timeline. And a lot of people, so that's for your energy levels, that's for your muscle density, and start to notice some hypertrophy, some muscle growth. For bone density, you're not going to start noticing until 12 to 18 months. The life cycle of an osteoblast or other bone cell is, the turnover is long. It's 12 to 18 months before the turnaround happens, the turnover. And every tissue has the cells live different lengths of time. And so bone, there's nothing that you could do for your bone that will show results faster than 12 to 18 months, just because that's how long it takes. And then as far as fat loss, completely dependent on your diet and your lifestyle and your sleep and your relaxation. And of course, the Peak Well program can help with that as well. But in concert, eating that certain way. So let's say you're doing this twice per week, as I've described, and you're hot on the Peak Well program, and they've given you, here's the way I want you to be eating. Here's how I want you to look after your sleep. Here's some meditation or some de-stressing protocols. If you are committed to all that, within 4 to 6 weeks, you'll notice the pants fitting looser. You'll notice 5 pounds, maybe 10, like the beginnings of where you see that it's going in a good direction.
And related to that, and we talked about this earlier, is the third piece inside our app. It's just the fit profile. This kind of goes back to our conversation on the wearables. We measure what matters. So our personal guarantee, which we're really confident in, is not just like this cheeky marketing thing, is that you will get stronger. So in the first 12 weeks, like you just said, you're going to get stronger if you're strength training this way. We cannot guarantee, to your point, Jim, that if your goal is to lose 50 pounds, for example, that you're going to achieve that. And that's probably the most challenging thing and frustrating thing for a lot of us as personal trainers. We want to help members achieve the goals and the results that they're after. And when it comes to strength, it's cool. It's guaranteed. You're going to get it.
No one doesn't get stronger.
Exactly. But if you're going to want something else in addition to that, whether it's fat loss, etc., it requires this extra step. So we have the Peak Well program for recovery. And we've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning again. We use things in our app like Prism AI, body scans, etc., because it's not uncommon when you start strength training with us and you're gaining muscle, the number one tool most people use is a scale. And so they see this scale start to go up and they go bad.
Number go up?
Yeah.
So I'm paying you to make number go up? I want number go down.
That's the one I want to go down. So we have an episode, I don't remember when, but it's earlier on about this exact subject. We won't dive into it too deeply here. You can go back to that episode on the scale and body composition, etc.
Yeah.
But we are measuring that stuff so you can see that your hip to weight ratio is waist ratio, I should say.
Right.
You're just talking about where we use your weight
Weight circumference.
in the weight circumference, yeah, in the wrong
You
place,
talk pretty one day.
is changing, and that you're adding muscle and that your body fat percentage is going down, etc. So yeah, pairing those things up, and that's when you can expect to start seeing what you need here, which is the strength and muscle, and the rest is sort of up to
Yep.
your engagement level.
And and as far as the FastFit equipped studios, same timeline, just shrunk a little bit more rapidly,
Nice.
but it's the same process. And I'd say that the more muscle you build, in my mind, I have a hard time understanding people's short-term sort of perspective, because when I start strength training, you got to be strength training for life.
Mhm.
Not strength training is not an option. So this is the most efficient, easy to fit into your life. It's 20 minutes. Once, twice, 3 times a week. This is the one you can fit into your life. So you got to be doing something. You can't do nothing. So it's not like if I don't see these incredible results in the first 6 to 8 weeks, I'm out of here. I'll tell you a story about my parents. They were, this was 2011, and I was very enthused about all the stuff I was learning about strength training, and I got them for Christmas, 6 months worth of once per week at a local super slope.
Wow.
Shout out to Marshall. Marshall's 584, Marshall Oken. Out in Lake Forest, Illinois, north shore of Chicago. And I sent them over to Marshall. And they had a little date night, a little Saturday morning. They would go over in the morning and do their workout. And at first, they were in their early 60s, and they had not exercised or strength trained in decades. They started very, very, very slowly because they were very, very deconditioned. So someone might say, okay, I'll start, but I'm going to see results in 4 weeks, right?
Right. Or I'm out.
Probably not. We got to start you so light and so easy, just so you're safe.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a meaningful amount of resistance. This is about learning. This first 6 weeks is just about learning how your body works.
But I started saving and investing 4 weeks ago. Why am I not a millionaire?
Right. How come my 401k looks like this? It's been a month. So it's like you plant the seeds. You don't go dig the seeds up in early June and go, where is it? Where's the plants? But anyway, they didn't notice much for the first couple, 2-3 months. But when I returned at the end of 6 months, they were cranking. They were standing up straighter. They were walking faster, talking faster. Everything they were doing, I could see it. They knew it was better, but they couldn't perceive how drastic it was because they were with themselves every day. When I got back from the travels I was on at the time, I get back, these are different people. But had they insisted that this work for them, get the result, like the results are going to stop, like that's the end. It's so short-sighted. It's so, I won't say childish, but it's very short-sighted, where if this doesn't, how quick am I going to see results? Well, you're going to be doing this for the next 20 years. How quick do you need to see results?
Right.
Regardless, you're going to be doing strength training for the next 20 years, at least. So off you go.
I can only assume, and I think that a lot of people come by it honestly in the sense of, is the number one thing we have to overcome at the Perfect Workout is skepticism, because it feels like it's too good to be true. 20 minutes, really. Now, once people try the exercise, they go, I can see why. It's only 20 minutes. It's challenging. But, this element of, most people don't strength train because they don't have time. So, of course, you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your money. If I said you're going to invest in something for 20 years, and I can almost guarantee you'll have the same money that you had at the beginning, you're going to be mad.
Right.
So there is a level of skepticism there. And, of course, we're like, we understand this is only going to be this way to
already been through it, and we know it works.
Right.
And so I get why, there's like frustration that sets in. But I can tell the people who do it better work in the first little bit, at least enough to let me know where I'm headed. That part we can tell you.
Exactly.
So in the first 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to feel a difference. You're going to feel an energy level difference. You're going to feel, if you combine it with a diet that you've started or a lifestyle that's more conducive to fat loss, you'll notice the body composition shifting. Like the muscles will become more dense, the waist will shrink, these types of things.
Right.
Within the first 4 to 6 weeks, it'll begin to have an effect, especially if you're using the heavier weights and the more intense right away.
Yeah.
If you are able to do that, then that'll be a greater stimulus and then a greater adaptation. So pretty quickly, it's going to keep working, and then it keeps working.
Yeah. So I think we can wrap this up. I'll give another little plug to our app. We're constantly working on the app, trying to evolve it. We want it to